Hi, and welcome again to the Complaining Cow Consumer Show on East London Radio with me, Helen Dewdney. And today I have with me Sol Escobar, who's the founder of Give Your Best. Now, this is a really interesting project, but I'm going to hand it straight over to Sol to tell me a little bit about what it is she and her organisation do. Welcome, Sol.
Hi, Helen. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me a little bit about Give Your Best.
Yes, so Give Your Best is a not-for-profit social enterprise. And what we do is we have created the first peer-to-peer donation platform. So essentially where people can upload clothes that they want to donate, and everything that is uploaded to our platform then becomes free to shop by the women and children in our community who tend to be either refugees, people seeking asylum, victims of domestic violence, etc. And they can all shop for free. With dignity and with choice, and items are sent directly from the person who donates to the person who shops it.
It sounds so simple. Is it as simple as that?
I think the concept is quite straightforward and honestly quite common sense as well. When I started this, and I'm sure that we'll talk about the origin story a little bit more, but I remember thinking, surely someone else is doing this. Surely this exists already. Mm-hmm. And then looking online and doing a bit of research, I realized no one was doing it. And then I thought, why is no one doing this? This is a terrible idea. It all started in the great lockdown of 2020 when we didn't really have very much else to do with our time. And so I decided to give it a go. And here we are. So, the concept is very straightforward, but what happens behind the scenes isn't, basically. It does. It is a whole entire organization with a massive team ensuring that everything gets done properly and in a safe way.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about how it all, why you started it.
Yeah, so I had been volunteering for many years prior to the first lockdown. I had been volunteering, supporting refugees, both in Cambridge, where I lived, resettled families here, and then also supporting with charities going to the north of France to support people in camps there. When lockdown started, actually my last visit to the north of France was at the week before lockdown was announced, and everything stopped, and the support stopped, charities closed, everything just sort of came to a halt. And I remember talking to some of the families that I was supporting, thinking, an already marginalized community is just becoming more and more isolated with no support. And it took me a few months of, I'm sure everybody like me was in disbelief that this was happening. And it took me a few months to kind of accept that, actually, this probably will be here to stay, and we do need to find alternative solutions for people to have support. At the same time, I remember in the summer of 2020, with lockdown, a report came out that, charity shops were all closing down because so many people were donating clothes and they didn't have the capacity. And I wanted to be able to donate my clothes in a way where I could ensure that it was going to people who needed it rather than being resold. But charities were closed and no one was accepting anything. And so I thought, well, everyone is online now. So how about I create something that people can access online? And so it all started with an Instagram page, funnily enough. I was supporting a particular one household of women at the time. And I actually called them and I told them, look, I have all these clothes. My friends have clothes. Of course, I can't send everything to you because I don't know if it's going to fit you, if you like it. And so I told them, I'm going to take pictures of everything I have and I'm going to upload them all to an Instagram page that you can access. And so you can choose what you like, and then I'll send you just those items. And, there were about 8 women in the household, and we talked afterwards and they all said that it was amazing, that it was like a little shopping experience that they hadn't had in such a long time. And they loved all getting together around the computer and kind of choosing what they liked. And I remember at the time as well, one of them said something that really, really struck me. And it was something that has fueled me since to continue as well, that she said, it was great, thank you so much, but don't go through all of this trouble just for us, because we're in no situation to say no to anything that you give us. And I remember thinking, even after you come out of this situation and start rebuilding your life, you might carry with you that feeling and that thought of only being worth what you're given rather than being worth your own choices. And so I thought, if we can start restoring that sense of well-being and of agency, one item of clothing at a time, then why not?
After that, what were the next steps of getting the message out there, of making sure that people could donate and that you're accessing the people you wanted to get to?
Yeah. So because I was volunteering with a couple of organizations that supported that community, I had contacts with charities already. And through those charities that I was volunteering, got more contacts. And basically what we started doing then, and is something that we've continued doing now, is we partner with bigger organizations who are more like frontline support. We don't have the infrastructure or capacity to be a frontline support organization. So we partner with them, and they are the ones who refer the people to our services. And what we offer is a more long-term sustained support for them to be able to access clothing for as long as they need it until they come out of clothing poverty, or whatever the situation is. And so that is what we started doing then, with other organizations referring their clients to us, and we continue to do so. And now we partner with a wide range of host of charities and organizations. And
are you a charity yourself?
We are not a charity per se. We are a not-for-profit social enterprise, which is a slightly different legal structure to a charity. But the reason is that we are now developing services and partnerships with the fashion industry, and it was something that as a charity you're very restricted with the type of services that you can offer and the type of partnerships that you can have. And at the time of starting this organization, I didn't really know where we were going to go or what we were going to become. And so I registered us as a social enterprise, which essentially means that we exist for the good of the community.
How many people have you got sort of working there, and how many people do you reach, and charities that you're partnered with?
Yeah, so we are currently pretty much entirely volunteer run, and we have been since the beginning. And honestly, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the incredible team of dedicated volunteers. At the moment, we have about 67 volunteers in the core team, which is quite a lot for me to manage. But we have 8 different teams within the organization. We've got our operations team, we've got our partnerships team, our social media team, and then we also have a wider team of volunteers of about 350 at the moment across the UK, and we're always recruiting more for that particular team, who are called very cute, I think is the term, but there are give your besties. And what our besties do is they act as collection points in their community, and they are the ones who, for example, if someone is moving and doesn't have the time to upload all the clothes themselves and take pictures, etc., we can match them with a bestie in their community, and they can drop off a bag or 2 of clothing. And then our volunteer is the one who takes the pictures, uploads everything, sends out the packages. It's kind of like having mini fulfillment centers across the UK that people run from their spare bedroom,
I mean, that's an incredible number of volunteers. I mean, that's grown quite quickly in 3 years?
Yeah, under 3 years, about 2.5 now. We started around October 2020. It really has grown really quickly, and really it's really heartwarming for me to see the commitment that people have to supporting vulnerable women and children. I think that one of the really winning aspects of what we do, why people like to get involved, is because we kind of sit in a very interesting intersection of different issues that we are addressing. So, for example, fashion waste and sustainability and circularity in fashion. So to extend life cycle of clothing, to ensure it doesn't end up in landfill. The support of marginalized women and vulnerable women as well, to give them choice and agency and empowerment through access to clothing, and also refugee rights. And so we have a lot of people that come from different angles to our organization and then kind of stay because they just really love the community that we have formed as well.
Do you know how many users you've had along the way, or that you've got at the moment?
Yeah, so we have had more than 3,500 users so far. Currently, we've got over 3,000 that are registered in our platform and can access it on a regular basis. We have processed over 25,000 items of clothing donated that have been uploaded and shopped. And we continue to have new applications and registrations to access our services every day.
Mm-hmm.
And our entire shop gets pretty much sold out every day, regardless of how many items are uploaded.
Yeah.
You know, on weekends when people have time to do their wardrobe clear outs and upload items to donate, we can have hundreds of items uploaded. Everything goes just all of the time. And we do have a limit of number of items that people can shop per person every week. Of course, we want to be as equitable as possible. So we have that limit in place. But even so, on the one hand, it's very encouraging to see so many people using our donation platform, primarily because nothing like it exists out there yet. But also on the other hand, it really does reflect the financial situation that we have at the moment, where so many people are in need of clothes, really. And
have you seen that need just increase over the last couple of years?
Yes, we have. And of course, we started focusing on the refugee community primarily because that was the community that I was supporting at the time through my volunteering. But over the years, especially in the past year, we've had, for example, we've partnered with refugees for women escaping domestic violence. We've partnered with even Citizens Advice, where there's a lot of people that now, have been really struggling and probably are now living in clothing poverty when they weren't before, and they really need to access services. And we don't like to turn anybody away as long as they're being referred by our partners. Then we try to help as much as we possibly can.
So on that note, is that how it works then, that people have got to have been referred to? That's your checks and balances to make sure that they are the people that you want to be serving?
Ideally, yes. I would say probably 95% of the people that come to us come referred from other organizations. But of course, there's also, word of mouth or community organizations that are just, neighborhood organizations, etc., that we might not know about, where people hear about our services. And that is fine as well, but we might usually, when we have someone that comes that hasn't been referred by an organization, everyone has to register and apply to access our services. And so if they don't come referred by a partner, then we might engage in a conversation with them. So we might email them and ask a couple of more questions. It's really a fine line between making sure that the people accessing our services are those in real need, but at the same time not putting in too many barriers for people to actually be able to access it. It's a fine line that we thread all the time, but I think so far we're not big enough to have had any issues with people registering for our services.
Yeah,
but we'll see as we grow.
Yeah, and there is also sort of the argument that even if a couple of people slip through that you wouldn't think should be accessing your services, the fact that you are reaching so many other people, it's almost sort of naturally going to happen, isn't it?
That's it. And it's kind of something that we are willing to, is a price you're willing to pay. Potentially having 1%, the 1% that might be taking advantage of the service, if that means we can support the other 99, then
yeah. What's been the most difficult thing to sort of cope with or deal with in building this organization?
I mean, on a personal level, I don't have a background in doing what I'm doing. It's been an incredible learning journey. My background is in education. At the same time as running Give Your Best, I work at university. And so managing the time has been very difficult, especially as we grow. Managing the funds really as well, because as a not-for-profit, small organization, startup, grassroots, we have in the past couple of years basically survived on grants and, public fundraising, etc. And it has been amazing, the response. And we have had some really supportive grants that meant, this year we were able to open our first office space in North London, where we have now volunteers come in person, and we're able to take a lot more items, etc. And so it has been great, but it is a real constant struggle. And I suppose it's not a struggle that I didn't anticipate it, because I didn't know what the behind the scenes was like of running a non-profit or a charity. I always had volunteered, but I didn't really know what it was involved in running one. And so over the past 2 years, I have learned very quickly what I needed to do. And I've taken a lot of courses and etc. and continue to learn as well. I think all of those kind of the logistics of running the organization have been quite challenging. The finances have been challenging, but honestly, the rewards, they outweigh the struggle so much more that even when I think I don't have the energy to do this anymore, we receive a message from someone from our community saying how much, our work means to them, and it kind of just always keeps you going.
Yeah, well, it sort of leads me on to the, what was most difficult, but what's the best part is seeing the difference, isn't
it? The community. Is absolutely the community. It's such a tangible difference that you make, and such an immediate difference that you make, that I think that is something that is very meaningful to our volunteers as well, because they can really see the impact that they're making. We get messages from the women in our community all of the time. Many of them actually volunteer with us as well. It's part of our ethos that we want to include the community that we support in the running of our organization. So we've got, some of our first ever service users are now in our board of directors, and they're involved in every team and every development and update that we do to our tech platform. For example, we ensure that they're always involved, and so that we do it properly. In the end, this is to serve that community, and we need to have that community involved in what we do. And I think that because of that, there is such a sense of collaboration and community in the team that it's really, it kind of does keep all of us going, because we can see firsthand the difference that it's making.
How has it been getting grants and doing the fundraising? Because it's tough out there.
It's hard, Helen. I didn't know how hard it was going to be.
Yeah.
Also a little bit, I've talked to people who have a lot of experience in fundraising, which I didn't do before. And, some of them that have worked for very big charities have told me, we had to apply for £3 million of funding to be able to get 100,000. So they were like, you just need to constantly be applying for funding to be able to get that 5% or that 10%. And that really has been the experience. And as much as that you need to kind of apply for everything to get something, it's just a little bit heartbreaking every time you don't get a grant.
Yeah. No, I hear you, because my background's in the not-for-profit sector.
Oh well,
Yeah,
probably better than I do.
So I know, that's why I'm saying how hard is it at the moment to get grants, because it's enough 20 years ago, but that there's definitely less money floating about now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's less money floating about. And of course, as well, because of our legal structure, it means that there are a lot of grants that we can't access because we're not charities. It also means that we can't access traditional investment either, because we don't have equity or shares to give away, because that's the whole point of being a not-for-profit, to not exist for the profit of individuals. And so, yes, it is a little bit difficult, but over this year, actually, we have a team of business development and partnerships. And so one of the things that we have been working on, which we are working on being financially sustainable as an organization so that we can reinvest anything that we're making into growing our impact. And so we have developed this partnership package, paid partnership package for brands, for retailers, for corporates, etc., whereby in particular for brands and retailers, what we do is we offer a sustainable service that deals with any of their unsold stock in a way that is socially impactful and is sustainable. So there's a lot of legislation now coming out of the EU and coming to the UK very soon that stipulates that brands no longer can dispose of their unsold stock in a way that is not environmentally safe. And so brands are more and more realizing that actually they need to be responsible for any of the clothes that they produce that are not sold. And so what we offer is a service that actually benefits the community that oftentimes gets left out from other solutions. Like a lot of brands do reselling, for example, and there are so many reselling platforms, which is amazing, and there's of course a very big place for second-hand selling of clothing, but there are 5.5 million people in the UK that are living in clothing poverty that can't afford even second-hand selling clothing. They can't afford charity shop prices. And so what we want to do is to promote this solution that actually has that social impact side of it, while also benefiting the bottom line of the brands, that they are actually doing good for the environment, but also doing good for the communities. And so we are currently engaging in conversations with brands to develop this partnership program, which we think that is a very good time now to bring a solution that will benefit communities as well as the environment. So yeah, we're working on that side of the organization as well.
So how many, you said how many volunteers you got, so 67, how many paid staff have you got? Because you obviously have to have that core.
Yes, yeah, we do. So we have at the moment 3 part-time paid staff. Last year we hired our first one, and she was one of our very first shoppers and a refugee woman from the community. And we have now this year received another grant, which is to cover some of the salaries. They tend to be part-time fixed-term contracts because they're very much, attached to grants at the moment. But we're hoping that with being able to develop this other side of the organization, that will allow us to have more long-term financial stability to offer more paid positions.
Because it is, I mean, you've done really well, because it is really hard to get sort of grants to pay for salaries. They, they don't like it. They like people to say, "Oh, we've just built this playground
out of nothing."
Yeah. We've look, here's our thing that we've produced, rather than saying we've actually, in some ways it's different, but it's so crucial that actually that they don't necessarily want to say that this is a project that we've supported by paying the staff, which meant that everyone could continue the project to reach thousands of people. But it needed staff to do that. You cannot rely on volunteers. It's very hard to get the funding for that. And it's very hard to get long-term funding for that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have been applying for some funding, some multi-year funding. We're still waiting for the outcome, but as you say, it's very difficult to access that sort of security, which really is something that you need to be able to make long-term plans and to have more impact. Because if you can't plan ahead, it's very difficult to sell the impact that you're having. Yeah.
And also I think the funders don't see quite often, I'm saying this for years when we were around doing it years ago, was that the difficulty with an organisation can't plan. If you keep giving these year contracts, those people are going to be looking for work if you don't, before that year's up, if you can't give them the stability. So it's
and I see it in myself as well, because I do work alongside running Give Your Best, and I would love to be able to do this full time, but I can't plan for that at the moment.
No.
I can go down to part-time for a fixed term period at work, but I can't really plan for doing for going completely all in, unfortunately.
For the businesses that are now looking to partner with you to give you their surplus stock and that, do they also give funds for you to actually manage that?
Yes, yeah. So that is the idea, that we offer for the service of dealing from start to finish with any of their unsold stock. So we collect it, we bring it. So now we have a physical space and we have a storage and all of that. So we bring it to be processed in our premises, and then we ensure that it's redistributed via our platform. And then we provide impact reporting for them as well, so that they can see and say where it's gone, what's happened to all of that stock, and they can actually, align it to their ESGs and, sustainable development goals, etc. And we also offer, as part of the partnership, also things like lunch and learns for their staff, volunteer opportunities for their staff, and other ways for us to get involved in the culture of their brand as well. Because, of course, we want to really work with brands that do want to make a difference, really, rather than just tick a box or the famous greenwashing that is everywhere nowadays. So we want to really collaborate with them in engaging their customer base and engaging their staff and etc. in having these conversations. We do have that service for brands, and then we also partner with corporates as well. They don't have the surplus clothing side of things, but we do, for example, organize clothing drives for their staff as well, where they can come and bring their own clothes that they might want to donate. We organize in-house volunteer days. We organize talks with ourselves and with the women from our community to come and talk about their experiences. And so, we want to try to, in this way, apart from, of course, create some revenue for our company, but also to be able to reach different audiences and different people, because we started and grew on social media, but social media can be very much an echo chamber sometimes of everyone who already is interested in the topics that we address are the ones who get involved in our work. And so it's really useful to reach different audiences, because we find that people are very, very supportive of what we do, even if they never thought about sustainable fashion, or they never thought about supporting refugee women and children, etc. So
how do people sort of find out about this and get involved?
Our website is giveyourbest.uk. All of the information is there as to how to donate. It's actually very easy. So about a year ago, we created a platform and we launched our first kind of bespoke platform. So we created a web app, basically, where people can use it either on their phone or on their computer. And it's pretty much like any other secondhand selling platform on the side of the donor. So you can take a picture of the item that you want to donate with your phone. You go onto our platform, you create an account very easily. All you need is just your email address. And then in your account, you can see a button to upload new items, and you can upload as many items as you want. It's very easy. All you do is just say what it is, what brand, what size, upload the picture. And then that all gets automatically and immediately posted onto the platform. And items currently are being shopped. Sometimes I even uploaded my clothes a couple of weeks ago, and I uploaded, I think, about 15 or 20 items. And by the time I did the last one, the first 10 had already been shopped. Which is actually quite exciting when you see it being shopped in real time. On the account, people can see the progress of each of their items. They can also see when the person has received it on the other side. It's quite straightforward and easy to use, our platform. And on the other side, for those who are shopping, we have created as much as possible a real shopping experience where they can add items to their cart, they can check out, but they don't have to pay. So basically through our website, you can see the step-by-step on how to donate. There's also a link to request a bestie, if that is what people want to do, to request one of our volunteers to be matched with. And also, we're on social media. Our main platform, I would say, it's probably Instagram, because that's where we started. So that's where our biggest community is. But we're also on Facebook, and we don't use Twitter very much, but we're on there as well, LinkedIn, etc. There are many ways to reach out to us. And on our website, there's also a list of all of the volunteering opportunities that we have. We're always recruiting new volunteers. We're currently recruiting volunteers to come and help in person in our North London office to process clothing there. And we also host a yearly fashion show, actually, which we haven't chatted about yet.
No, tell me about that.
We have so much going on. As if we don't have enough going on, we also host a fashion show. Basically, last year we ran our first fashion show. It was during Sustainable Fashion Week, and the concept was to celebrate the women in our community and also to celebrate fashion for good. And so we had 10 models from our community, all of them refugees or women seeking asylum. We even had a little baby that we got a tiny little sustainable outfit to model as well. And we partnered with 15 sustainable fashion brands last year to dress all of the models, and they all gifted the clothes to the models as well. It ended up being an incredible event. It kind of just snowballed out of anything that I could have imagined that it was going to be, and it was sold out. We had about 150 people there. It was a very joyous occasion, and it was a wonderful experience for the women in our community. It was a great way to showcase a lot of the brands, and it was a very empowering time for the models as well. We are currently organizing another one for this year, hopefully bigger and better. We want to have more of the women in our community involved in the project. We've got a big team of volunteers now helping to organize it. So yeah, so we're looking for, any sponsors or brands that want to get involved. And we hope we'll have a time and a date and a venue very soon, hopefully next week. So I'll let you know when we have the details.
Do, and then I'll put it on the blog post.
Perfect.
Now, is there anything else that you feel that people should know?
Good question. I think I've talked a lot. I think
we've covered off everything. I think
we've covered everything. Yes. I mean, ways to support us, the if I can leave people that might listen to this or read to the blog with one action, would be to reach into your closet. We all have, think on average, something like 45 items in our closet that we don't wear. There was a study that came out recently, and, reach out to that, even 5 items, 2 items, 1 item, take a picture and upload it, and you can make a difference to someone in such an easy way and such a tangible way as well. So we accept all sorts of women's wear, accessories, shoes, etc. Anything can go up on the platform. We also accept children and babies' clothes as well, toys, books, that sort of thing, which are always in great need, maternity clothes, etc. as well. We hope that in the future we'll be able to also add menswear as well, but at the moment we have just so much demand with the categories that we offer. We're trying to cope with that first. But yeah, if anyone has anything that they would like to donate, that's the best way to support our work.
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to me. It's been really interesting, and I hope you carry on going from strength to strength.
Oh, thank you so much, Helen. It's been lovely to chat to you.
Well, I hope you found that interesting, and thank you for listening. And if you have a topic you'd like me to discuss on the show, you can email me on helen@eastlondonradio.org.uk, and you can find me on my website, thecomplainingcow.co.uk, for information on consumer issues, including rights and money-saving matters, and all the other episodes of the Complaining Cow Consumer Show on East London Radio. And you can find me on Twitter @ComplainingCow and @TheComplainingCow on Instagram and Facebook. And you can get 15% off the books How to Complain, the Essential Consumer Guide to Getting Refunds, Redress and Results, and 101 Habits of an Effective Complainer with the code ELRCOW. Many thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.